Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Michael Pokey here. As the thumbnail says, is it too risky? Is it too risky to invest in Pokemon cards at the moment? Hey, the hobby feels like it's in a little bit of a funny place for us investors at the moment. We know overall, things might have slowed down a little bit for the TCG as a whole. I know, obviously the player base is still strong, and the tournaments are still strong, and card conventions are still strong, but it feels like maybe the absolute demand since Sword and Shield from both collectors, adults, kids, investors has maybe died off a little bit. So it feels like it's in a little bit of a funny place. And in addition to that, a lot of the gains we've seen lately has been massive. Like, talk about a swing around into a massive bull market for Sword and Shield era. We've seen, of course, Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, Brilliant Stars, Evolving Skies, Astral Radiance, Silver Tempest even now, just absolutely starting to take off in price. And as a result, a lot of the main hits from those sets have also taken off in price. And then we've also seen this, I suppose, discrepancy between what's happening there and what's happening in Scarlet and Violet era for investors, I guess, that those sets are really not doing a great deal and maybe perhaps don't look like doing a great deal anytime soon. And with, reprint window not too far away, the main time coming into the US is winter. We're probably talking sort of, 4 months away, 5 months away, October-ish. Are a lot of those Scarlet and Violet sets going to get reprinted? Will Paldea copper reprint? Will Obsidian Flames copper reprint? Will a set like Paradox Rift even copper reprint? Will English 151 copper reprint? The best set so far of Scarlet and Violet. So I feel like from an investing standpoint, we're almost treading water a little bit here, because we've got two options really, don't we, when it comes to investing in booster boxes or other sealed products. Do we still go down the Sword and Shield path and pay a higher price for what we know is solid boxes, which will inevitably continue to go up more? Or do we buy in at the cheaper entry point price into Scarlet and Violet and buy in at 95 or 100 or 110 US dollars a booster box for sets like Paldea Evolved or Obsidian Flames or Paradox Rift or even the new Temporal Forces? And then it's like, okay, one's going to cost me twice as much, but we know it's got good upside potential, but I don't want to get into that. I feel like I missed the boat. Like, I missed it at 100 US dollars and now it's at 250 US dollars or 220 US dollars. It just feels a little bit too much. And then the negative on the Scarlet and Violet side is, well, hold on, these could cop another reprint and, dip even lower. These could go back to 90 US dollars a box. And if I buy in now and they get reprinted in 5 or 6 months time, and then they spend 3 years sitting at, $100 a box, almost like, Battle Styles did or Vivid Voltage or Darkness Ablaze did, then it's like, hold on, that's just a waste of money. So I feel like we're treading water a little bit. What do we do? Now, I suppose the whole idea behind the thumbnail, which is it too much of a risk? Or is it too risky? What I mean by that is it too much of a risk to jump into the Sword and Shield sets that have already appreciated a lot? And the answer quite blatantly is no. No, it's not. I can tell you now, Fusion Strike, Chilling Reign, they're not going to get any cheaper. And I think I've mentioned this in another previous video that, we've seen this before. If you've been in the hobby long enough, we've seen this before. We saw it with Sun and Moon era. Like, it's the exact same thing happening again, just on repeat. We saw it with Unified Minds, Cosmic Eclipse, Team Up, Unbroken Bonds. 4 absolutely stellar sets. The 4 best main sets from the whole Sun and Moon era. Now, those sets coming into the start of the Sword and Shield era, a similar place to what we are now with Scarlet and Violet, that appreciated a fair bit. Some of them copped some reprints like Unified Minds and Unbroken Bonds, which was sitting a little bit lower, of course, than Team Up and Cosmic Eclipse for a little while. But either way, they were all sitting at like, 200 to 300 US dollars a booster box come, the 6th set into the Sword and Shield era. When we were sort of up to, sets like a Chilling Reign, you could buy those sets for 200 to 300 US dollars a booster box, and people are going, well, it's the exact same argument. Do we buy into sets like Vivid Voltage or Darkness Ablaze at 100 US dollars, or do we buy into those sets at 200 or 300 US dollars? Which would have been the better option looking back? Of course, it's the Sun and Moon option. even mid-tier Sun and Moon sets, sets like Celestial Storm, Lost Thunder, the Elite Trainer boxes and booster boxes have really kicked on as well the last 6 to 9 months. If you look at the data, those numbers don't lie. Those sets have gone up drastically. So even mid-tier Sword and Shield sets have or will or do have the potential to start upticking in price. Even if you're like, what's a mid-tier? You could probably argue something like an Astral Radiance is pretty mid-tier. When it's surrounded by sets like Evolving Skies, Lost Origin, Fusion Strike, etc., it's a great set. And I've always said it's a sleeper set, and I like the set. I like the Training Gallery. I love the Chase cards. I love the Origin Form Dialga and Palkia. I love that Machamp. I love the Beedrill. Like, I love the Starmie. Come on, like it's a better set, but when it's surrounded by the others, you'd almost argue it's a mid-tier set. It doesn't sit anywhere near the bottom like Darkness Ablaze or Battle Styles, etc., or Vivid Voltage or Rebel Clash or Sword and Shield base, but it doesn't sit in that top 4 or 5 sets from the Sword and Shield era. So therefore, I guess it makes it a mid-tier set. Just like you could say, Celestial Storm or Lost Thunder, they don't sit with the top 4 tag team sets. They're mid-tier sort of sets, but even the mid-tier sets are starting to uptick in price. And I suppose if I were to offer one piece of advice just to end this video on what to do when it's like, is it too risky and where to park the money at the moment, I don't think it's the bad bet to still jump in on Sword and Shield. I think that is still the play. When it comes to Scarlet and Violet, give it some time. These sets have only just come out, and consumer sentiment can change rapidly on these sets. A set like Temporal Forces, which I've actually not said anything bad about, the only thing I've said is that they could have just done a little bit better. I never said I didn't like the cards. I never said I didn't like the set. I said the artwork is phenomenal. I just wish they'd added something else. A future Deoxys special art rare. An ancient Kyogre special art rare. Maybe just, I know this would change the Pokemon up altogether, but maybe, ancient Raikou rather than, Diplodocus that we see in there. So I never said anything bad about the set, and that set could become a stellar set. Consumer sentiment or investment sentiment or collector sentiment could well and truly change for that set rapidly, particularly if it starts picking up in price, doesn't get reprinted. We've got the tiered chase where, 1 in 700 or 600 chance to pull some of those harder SARs. All of a sudden, in 3 years' time, that set could very well be in the same place that Fusion Strike's in right now. So we've got time when it comes to Scarlet and Violet. So that's my advice. If you're wondering, treading water, thinking, oh, look, I still want to keep spending some money on some Pokemon investments. I have my budget and I want to spend it. Where's the deals at right now? Where should I park the money? I still think the Sword and Shield sets are the good answer. And let's readdress Scarlet and Violet when we get a little bit further down the track. When we can start to see supply drying up and reprint windows being missed and some of those sets missing out, hold your horses. That's when some of those are also going to start shooting up as well. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm Michael, this is Pokey Oz, and I'll catch everyone next time.